In our first story from tomorrow, mothers can take their babies for shots of measles, BCG, and oral polio vaccines available now in the country. For months, babies were turned away because of the nationwide shortage and the uncertainty brought on by the financial difficulties faced by the Ministry of Health in purchasing drugs. But now, the Ghana Health Service has begun supplying various hospitals with the first consignment, which came in Saturday in anticipation of a mass vaccination tomorrow, Monday. Before we hear from the Ghana Health Service, here's a recap of my visit to the Accra Polyclinic, where mothers were turned away because of the shortage. After a month, nursing mother Florence Kwabla is back to the vaccination center at the Adabraka Polyclinic with her baby girl, Gladys. Florence is here to get Gladys' weight checked and her vaccination shot. She recorded a healthy weight. However, the oral polio vaccine due her is still not available for her baby. The last time she was here, she was told it was finished.
With the polio worries me a lot because the first day we came, they said there's a shortage. Then 1 month time we came, they said there's a shortage. So I asked them, is there any available at any? But they said there's still shortage at some of the polyclinics and hospitals.
Another worried mother is Gifty Odonko. Her 4-month-old baby Inshira has also not received the polio and the rotavirus vaccines. She wants government to quickly restock.
I'm
told there is no polio vaccine, so we'd have to return without the shot. It could expose her to diseases. I hope we can get it at the pharmacy to protect her.
Parliament's Health Committee took a strong stand to deal with shortages across the country. Committee Chair Dr. Efriye Ayu agrees that no child should be exempt from vaccination.
We are concerned because every life matters. And just as many of us here feel our sustainability has more been because of the vaccines we had at childbirth. We cannot deprive any Ghanaian that opportunity to live. And the absence of vaccines in the committee's thinking is inexcusable or unpardonable.
Well, the Ghana Health Service Director, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji, has assured stores will be replenished in 2 weeks. Well, the Ghana Health Service says it's taking delivery of the first batch of the 3 crucial vaccines that were lacking in various hospitals, with distribution ongoing. Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji is Director General of the Ghana Health Service.
The first batch of the vaccines just arrived, and we have doses in BCG, oral polio vaccine, and then the measles vaccine. They just arrived with the accessories, the syringes, safety boxes, they've all just arrived. And so immediately they are being dispatched to the regions, and then latest by Monday, vaccination will start across the country. We want to use this opportunity to assure all mothers that there will be enough vaccines for everybody. There's no rush. They should come and get the vaccine as they are due. So this is the 3 out of the 10 vaccines. We normally have 10 vaccines that are used for 13 diseases across Ghana. 3 of them were in short supply. That is the OPV, BCG, and the measles rubella vaccine. We have received quantities of the 3 to complement what we are doing. And this is the first batch that arrived. We are hoping that the rest will come in very soon. We are moving all the supplies to the regions and the facilities, and so by Monday morning, there will be vaccines available for those who need it. The doses that are available is enough for at least a minimum of 6 weeks across the country, whilst the others are brought in. So we have enough doses to cover our need for the next 6 weeks. We are moving to the cold room, and the regional cold vans are waiting to pick them up and quickly send them to the regions and to the facilities, so that by Monday, as I said, we would start vaccinating all. These new vaccines are just going to help us do a catch-up to make sure that by the end of the year, all children who are supposed to be vaccinated are vaccinated. And so, even though there's a delay for vaccination, the most important thing is that you will take them as and when they come. If you can't take them before the due date for the next booster, but the days after still doesn't really affect the immunity that's supposed to provide for you. And we also have heard rumors of people parading around with vaccines. Vaccines are not sold in the shops. They are not sold on the tabletop. So they have to be careful that people are not bringing in vaccines that are not of good quality. We have vaccines across the country now, and everybody should relax. Go to their point of care, and they will be all vaccinated.
You heard the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Patrick Kuma Abwaji. Now let's talk to Professor Alhassan Abdul Mumin, consulting pediatrician at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, and also the Northern Regional Chairman of the Ghana Pediatric Society. Doc, thanks for joining us on Joy Newsroom. Can you hear me? If you can unmute, I'll be grateful. Can you unmute for me, please, Doc?
It's unmute already.
Yes, it's much better now. Now, I mean, these vaccines coming in now, your region has been dealing with the outbreak of the measles cases. This must surely come as a relief for you.
Oh, definitely. I mean, for us at the Pediatric Society of Ghana, it's a huge relief, and I think it will be a huge relief for all Ghanaian families and parents and all other stakeholders who are very much interested in the well-being of the Ghanaian child.
Have you received your consignment yet?
Not yet, but you know, as the Director General said, they have just now started deploying them. So, I mean, it will take, I mean, the timeline given was that by Monday 13th, it should be arrive at the regions for onward distribution to the facilities. So we should be expecting it starting from tomorrow.
Interesting. And so how many babies are we talking about here to receive the vaccines in your region?
Well, I mean, it's a huge number. I mean, I don't have a specific number in mind now. But if you look at the numbers that have not been vaccinated for some time now because of the lack of the vaccines, so that means that there will be a backlog of children who missed the vaccination. And DG mentioned it clearly in his statement that for those who missed it, we will still have the opportunity to do catch-up vaccination. And there will be those who will be due, within the next days, and all of them would have to be covered with this vaccination.
Interesting. And how is your vaccination plan? I mean, the Director General has said that from Monday you start the vaccination exercise. How prepared are you, and in which form is it going to take?
So for the Pediatric Society of Ghana, we are directly involved in the distribution of the vaccines. but we do have members who work in facilities who have to deliver the vaccines directly to children. What we know is that Ghana has a very robust expanded program of immunization system. This is well renowned. And we trust in the system that for the storage, the distribution, and then the delivery to the patients, to the eligible children, will be done very quickly by all the agencies and stakeholders who have been tasked to do this. So what we are doing as a society is to try to sensitize the public. So we started by maybe teaching the healthcare workers on what to expect of a measles infection. Now we have planned to also engage the public so that we sensitize them to take advantage of the availability of the vaccines now in the health facilities by coming from tomorrow. So everyone who has an eligible child should actually take advantage of this and get their children vaccinated. This is important because that then will help us to avert another possible outbreak of vaccine-preventable diseases.
We're grateful for your time, Dr. Abdul Mumin. He's the consulting pediatrician at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Still on health, kidney care specialists are advocating the formulation of a policy framework on non-communicable diseases with a focus on kidney disease in Ghana. The head of the Internal Medicine Department of the Whole Teaching Hospital, Professor Ewuku Asanteya, wants the framework to ensure proper access to healthcare for chronic patients and a well-thought emergency preparedness plan. He was speaking at a stakeholders' engagement on kidney disease in the Volta regional capital of Ho.
Kidneys are two bean-shaped organs that filter the blood, removing waste and extra water to make urine. Diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, smoking, family history of kidney disease, old age, frequent use of some medications, among others, may lead to kidney disease. When this happens, the kidney fails, leading to advanced chronic kidney disease, which can cause dangerous levels of fluid and wastes to build up in the body. Though it is reported that 1 in 10 open patient department cases are kidney-related, treatment in Ghana is scarce and expensive. Given this, the Whole Teaching Hospital organized a stakeholder workshop to digest and adopt the best approach to dealing with kidney disease. Professor Ewuku Asante is the head of the Internal Medicine Department of the Whole Teaching Hospital.
There's a skewed distribution of dialysis services in Ghana. And like I said, Volta and OT, you can only get it in Volta. So you can imagine somebody from Keta, he has to come all the way here and go back. So we need to look at making it more accessible. Out-of-pocket payment for dialysis in Ghana, quite a big one. You have cost up to 500, maybe some place 600 per session. And I've told you that we need 3 sessions a week, ideally. So let's use the 500 to calculate. So 1,500 a week times 4, 6,000. This is just for dialysis. Don't forget there's transportation to the place. There's erythropoietin, which is also not paid by the insurance that you have to buy. So if we want to really look at it very well, you are paying about 8,000.
He therefore suggested the introduction of a policy framework to ensure chronic patients receive the best of care.
These incidents including chronic kidney disease. So it has to be at the policy level and disseminated downwards to all of us. Healthcare services to provide equitable and proper access to care for chronic patients in times of emergency. How do we do that? We have to think about it to be able to get it done. Government should include emergency preparedness plans in the management and detection of NCDs and favor the prevention of these conditions. And this is my favorite part, the last one.
The Whole Teaching Hospital Director of Health Services, Dr. Lord Mensah, assured of its outfit's preparedness to deliver the best of care to chronic patients.
This occasion is aimed at making the populace aware that you don't have to stay at one place when you know you have a problem with your We are ready to support.
There are a lot of young men and women still drinking without thinking of what kidney diseases are. Stakeholders here, it is for us to educate our communities when we go back.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News. Ho.
We stay a while longer on health. Now, the Director of College of Health, Yamfo, in the Tano North District of the Ahafo region, Dr. Mohammed Ibrahim, says the lack of adequate infrastructure to accommodate all students at the college is forcing some students to defer their studies. Dr. Ibrahim said private property owners who have taken advantage of the situation to exploit students should stop. Now, he's speaking at the 8th matriculation ceremony. Dr. Ibrahim appealed for government's intervention.
The College of Health, Yamfo, in the Ahafo region, established in 2015 with an initial population of 250, now has a total student population of 2,442, including the newly admitted 731 students for the 2022-23 academic year. Speaking at the 8th matriculation ceremony on the theme, the preparedness of the health trainees in embracing technological advancements in health, the director of the college, Dr. Mohammed Ibrahim, observed the need to leverage technology to provide quality health care. Though he admits there is a technological gap in the Ghana health system, he challenged the students to embrace all advancement aimed at improving healthcare delivery.
The availability of affordable, easy-to-use systems and equipment has contributed to several initiatives aimed at improving the effectiveness of healthcare providers, the efficiency of health system managers, and new opportunities for healthcare customers. Within the last 3 decades, the demand to intensify the use of information and communication technology has increased. This demand has arisen partly as a result of new insights into the extent to which such application can influence the health of the population, and also as a response to the need to accelerate progress towards the attainment of the SDGs. I therefore challenge you to embrace all technological advancements in the health sector.
He expressed worry over the additional burden on students and staff over the infrastructural deficit affecting studies and appealed for help.
I will use this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to all those who have supported the college since the inception, and more importantly, Yamfo Manhene and the Yamfo community. The inability of the college to accommodate all its students has caused a ripple effect throughout the Yamfo and Susansu townships. Rent prices have gone skyrocketing in these communities, placing an additional burden on both students and staff. I regret to bring to your notice that some students in their final years have deferred their studies against their will because they are not able to afford the skyrocketing rent charges. And the college is as helpless as those students. I also wish to use this opportunity to appeal to all stakeholders to help us improve on our physical infrastructure.
The college, an affiliate of the University of Cape Coast, offers degrees in health information management, community health nutrition, community mental health, and physician assistantship. Precious Semevo, Joy News, Yamfo.
Now, the Member of Parliament for Techiman South constituency of the Bono East region, Martin J. Mensah Kosa, has finally supported some 225 tertiary students within the Techiman municipality at a total of 300,000 Ghana cedis disbursed for the settlement of their school fees. The move, according to the legislator who doubles as the Deputy Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, forms part of his commitment towards ensuring a high standard of education for his constituents. Regional correspondent Anna Sabit has more.
A total of 225 tertiary students in the Techiman South municipality of the Bono East region are receiving financial support from the MyCam Foundation, an NGO established by the Member of Parliament for Techiman South constituency, Martin J. Mensah Kosa. The legislator, who doubles as the Deputy Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, emphasized that the move forms part of his mega plan of supporting brilliant but needy students within the constituency.
This exercise is for those within the tertiary schools who have applied to my foundation, the MyCam Foundation, for some help. For the emphasis, this support is not out of the MP's Common Fund. Last year, same time, but about 200 people benefited from 120,000 cedis support. This year, the number is shot up to 225, and the money we are dispensing to them by way of support is 300,000 cedis. We have various programs being offered by the students, from medicine to anything. And so what we've done today is for the 225 people who have applied to us, we are extending the support to them here. We intend to have this as an annual event to help people within this municipality go through school. It becomes a huge challenge when people have to drop off because of lack of support.
Mr. J. Mensah Kosa was, however, quick to appeal to the beneficiaries of the scheme to make good use of the opportunity given in order to help shape their lives and that of the communities they hail from.
We are in very difficult times. Difficult because we are here before them to extend to them some help out of the request they made. All we expect from them is, especially the students, is that this effort should not be made to go waste. Once we make these efforts, all we expect is that they also do their side of the bargain by taking up these opportunities and making the best out of it. Overall, they will be helping shape their future, and Techiman also becomes proud for this initiative. And so we only can urge them, stay in school, learn hard, make the necessary grades, and brighten your life so that you can make the best out of it.
To some of these beneficiaries who couldn't hide their joy after receiving the support, the award scheme will go a long way in helping them realize their dreams.
I'm very excited and very happy that Honorable have supported me with this amount of money. It's very difficult sometimes when I'm in school, even the school fees, though my parents are alive, but in terms of finance, they are finding it difficult. So with this amount of money, I'm very happy and excited for supporting me.
In fact, it has, I don't know MP Director, I've not seen him before physically. So a friend, I was complaining and a friend introduced him to me. So by God's grace, I got his number and tried to call, but not available. So I tested him and I pleaded to assist me because things are not easy. So by God's grace, I am here now. So in fact, he has been doing a wonderful work.
This year's award scheme is benefiting some 225 students who are receiving in total an amount of 300,000 Ghana cedis in cash. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Techiman.
Now to roads. Deputy Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources and Member of Parliament for Sisala East, Amidu Chinya Ishaku, urged the people of Sisala Enclave to exercise restraint in demanding their share of the national cake, particularly roads. The minister said in spite of failure by successive governments to improve state of roads in Sisala Enclave, residents must be measured in expressing their displeasure while demanding accountability. Amidu Ishaku gave the caution after handing over an ambulance to the Walemble Polyclinic. A Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafik Salam has more.
One major challenge faced by the Walemble Polyclinic is the lack of an ambulance, which authorities say is impeding quality health care delivery. According to a physician assistant at the Polyclinic, Amos Zapla, patients who are referred to seek further medical care at the Tumu Municipal and the Upper West Regional hospitals or outside the region are unable to do it on time due to lack of an ambulance. He cited an instance of a 3-month-old pregnant woman who was brought to the facility.
So how to refer her to WA was a problem. We referred, but how to get the mean to send the police staff to WA was a whole lot of problem. So we have to go around from up to down to beg for a mean. So it was a woman that actually helped us to get a mean, and then we fuel it and send our colleague to Bolga for a medical checkups.
All this will come to pass with the donation of an ambulance to the polyclinic by Deputy Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources, Maame Esi Thompson.
Wolembele is the second biggest health facility in the Sisala East, apart from the municipal hospital. And it's supposed to serve the whole catchment area from here to Bugubele to Jijien to Sentier to Bande to Tasso, Kulufu, Nabulo, Bewis Boy, Komo, Gosi. This catchment area, if we are able to equip this facility well, is going to serve this whole area, so that instead of going to the municipal hospital, anybody who has a problem, health problem within this area, or should come to the Wolembele Polyclinic.
He commended the medical superintendent of the Wolembele Polyclinic and his staff for their commitment to duty in providing quality and affordable health care to the people.
In a matter of 2 years, 80 operations. All these 80 people should have gone to Tumu or Wa. And you can imagine you go to a facility where your house is very far from, the discomfort, the inconvenience, and all that. But anybody around Wolembele, if you are supposed to have an operation from Bugubele and you come to Wolembele, it is more comfortable than moving from Bugubele to Tumu. If you are from Tasso, it's more convenient to come to Wolembele than going to Tumu. If you are from Nabulo, it's more convenient to come to Wolembele than going to Tumu. So you can see the kind of support he's giving to this area.
He disclosed plans of ongoing works on 22-bed capacity wards for 4 communities in the constituency.
I am constructing a 22-bed capacity ward in Bugubele. I'm doing same in Sakai. I am doing same in Nabugubele. I'm doing same in Ngwandono. 4 major health facilities being constructed by not the central government, by the MP. I have not seen any MP that has ever undertaken and constructed a 22-bed capacity ward in Sisala land. It has never happened. I have just donated an ambulance to Wolembele Polyclinic. Can you remember any MP has donated an ambulance in the Sisala area? These are major strikes.
One major challenge, which is an affront to providing quality health care to the people of the Sisala enclave, is the deplorable nature of roads. The issue, for some time now, has brought lots of social tension in the area, resulting in holding of press conferences and demonstrations by the Sisala Youth Forum. Maame Esi considered that very little attention has been given to the Sisala enclave by successive governments, which has resulted in what he called accumulation of emotion and anger by the people on the government. He was, however, quick to add that the narrative has changed today with the coming into being of the MPB administration.
There is a historical antecedent or historical problem that the Sisala people face. And so we don't have to be too emotional when it comes to our roads. For more than 50, 100 years, our roads have not been tackled. How many roads have been tied in the Sisala area? It's like we have not been part of Ghana for a very long time. But it appears that the emotion and anger is coming at this particular time on an accumulated problem. It is not a problem that started today. We have had ministers coming from the Sisala area, we have had MPs coming from the Sisala area, but it has remained a problem. But if you look at what is happening now under President Nana Akufo-Addo, you can see clearly that there is major work that is being done.
Medical Superintendent of the Wolembele Polyclinic, Dr. Emmanuel Ogbami, thanked the Sisala East Legislature for the donation. Dr. Ogbami used the opportunity to appeal to the government, corporate organizations, and benevolent individuals to come to the aid of the polyclinic to help solve some key challenges in order to improve healthcare delivery in the area.
A lack of infrastructure. As we can see, there has been no additional infrastructure to the old health center building. The maternity unit block project has been halted since 2020. We have about 3 prescribers with only 1 consulting room. The administrator and medical superintendent also have no office. Number 3, we have no official pickup vehicle, and so I have to move from Tumu to work in ovens and motorbikes sometimes getting to work very dirty.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Wolembele.
Now, an economist, Dr. Theo Champon, says contrary to government's assertion that the economy was doing well before COVID-19, it was in a mess. According to him, there were some underlying issues with the economy making it prone to challenges. According to him, there's little to show for the monies borrowed by this government. He was speaking on Newsfile yesterday.
Things were going well, but I have been on this program and others, and we have gone through some of the numbers. And what is very clear is that the country had an underlying ailment. I used to call it, we had the fiscal diabetes. So just like COVID, those that died and were said they had, diabetes and hypertension and you name it, it's pretty much the same thing with us. So this really idea that we were quote and unquote doing well, yes, doing well on the surface, but there were deep issues, including issues when it comes to the borrowing. And I am very much convinced in my mind that we have been reckless when it comes to borrowing and when it comes to spending. You can look at that in a number of ways. But quickly, if you look at the statement again that the president made, that it is worth noting that the debts that we are servicing were not only contracted during the period of this administration. Yes, that is true. But if you give or look at it in the final details, a lot of it actually has been contracted during this administration. So I prepared a little table that I shared with your producers just to maybe put on the screen for the benefit of Ghanaians. Let's just use the Eurobond as one of the examples here. All of Kufuor's administration, it was 750 million. John Mahama borrowed 3.75 billion. And the Akufo-Addo administration from 2018 to 2021, before we lost access to the capital market, had borrowed 11.05 billion. So almost 3 times as much as John Mahama had borrowed, and almost about 10 times as much as John Kufuor had also borrowed in that respect. So the idea for me that we have not been reckless in borrowing and spending, and sometimes what people say is quote unquote borrowing.
He talks about the unprecedented road construction, and he says much of the borrowing has gone there. He says here is the evidence of the road works that have gone on. How do you challenge him?
So what is the quality of the roads that have been constructed, right? Number 2, you also need to borrow with an ability to actually service back your debt. And what clearly we have found ourselves in is that we are almost broke as a country and cannot service our debt. But a bit of the positive out of all of this really is that when you look at our external sector, particularly our trade balance, for the last couple of about a year or so, we actually have been exporting more as a country than we are importing. So if you look at last year's numbers, we exported $17.4 billion worth of goods, and then we actually imported just under 15 billion. So that gave us a positive trade balance. So ideally, what this should have done is then to show up our reserves and allow us to, have a much better city. But because you also had a negative outflow from your balance of payments, and specifically your capital accounts and then your the financial accounts, that then means that all these positive trade balance that we got is more or less been offset by those outflows. Hence why we're seeing our gross reserves dwindling from 9.7 billion as of December 2021, or 4.3 months of import cover, now down to 2.7 months or 6.3 billion as of December 2022. So that's really, it's for me, the state of the economy.
The Ghana Boundary Commission and the Boundary Commission of Burkina Faso have agreed to reaffirm all destroyed boundary pillars along its international boundary by restoring them to their former state. Speaking at the closing ceremony of a two-day meeting between the two countries, National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, said the reaffirmation exercise and the subsequent sensitization of the local communities will help prevent boundary disputes. Maxwell Agbagba has more.
First meeting between the two countries was at Paga in 2021. At the end of the latest two-day meeting, Ghana and Burkina Faso also agreed to develop a new boundary pillars document of the reaffirmed boundary line in English and French versions. The two parties also agreed to embark on a sensitization of border communities during and after the reaffirmation exercise. Lieutenant Colonel Evelyn Asamoah read the key decisions taken by the two countries.
To establish a joint technical committee and subcommittees to work on the reaffirmation of the common land boundary. 2. To compile and share existing legacy documents of boundary pillars between the two parties. 3. To conduct joint reconnaissance along the common international boundary line as part of the reaffirmation. 4. To reconstruct all destroyed boundary pillars along the international boundary. 5. To produce a map of existing and reconstructed pillars. 6. To develop a new boundary pillar document of the reaffirmed boundary line in English and French versions.
National Coordinator of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Kotia, said the reaffirmation exercise and the subsequent sensitization of the local communities will help prevent boundary disputes.
And there are a lot of advantages in doing this. One, to prevent a lot of boundary disputes. You need to understand that the local communities along the boundary lines of Ghana and Burkina Faso are not aware of where the markings are because the markings are very far. But with a reaffirmation, which will be done alongside with sensitization, the people will get an understanding of where the international boundary line is, and that will prevent a lot of disputes. It will give clarity to where Ghana and Burkina Faso boundary is. We are envisaging that we will be setting up a technical committee that will effectively undertake the implementation of the decisions that are being taken.
Permanent Secretary of the National Boundary Commission of Burkina Faso, Salamatu Dabao, says both countries will work together to ensure what has been agreed on paper is achieved. GIZ, through the African Union Border Program, provided funding for the meeting. Major General Emmanuel Kotia appealed to GIZ to consider the possibility of funding the reaffirmation exercise under the framework of the African Union Border Program. ECOWAS Component Manager GIZ African Union Border Program, Dr. Sanu Bakari, says reaffirmation exercises are very important in preventing disputes.
This program was established since 2007 as a structural means to prevent conflict across African continent. You know, since Berlin Conference, the almost 80,000 of African borders are not well defined, and the fact that the boundaries are not well defined create a lot of problems. You know, when you don't know the border, you cannot patrol the borders. Yeah. So that's why we are really supporting this program, so that we can prevent conflict and also support the two governments to come up with clean the limitation of their borderlands.
Civil society organizations were also represented at the meeting. Paul Abrahampa Mensah, Programs Manager at CDD Ghana, lauded the efforts of the boundary commissions of the two countries. Permanent Secretary of the National Boundary Commission of Burkina Faso, Salamatu Dabao, says both countries will work together to ensure what has been agreed on paper is achieved. Heads of the Ghana Boundary Commission and the Boundary Commission of Burkina Faso signed and exchanged the declaration after the two-day meeting. Major General Emmanuel Kotia presented a plaque to the head of the Burkina Faso Boundary Commission.
Now, Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Saleh has eulogized the late paramount chief of the Jurapa traditional area, Na Ansoli Ghana II, for his contribution to the country's development as the National Director of the Bureau of National Investigation and Inspector General of the Ghana Police. Dr. Hafiz bin Saleh received and commiserated with the family of the late Jurapa overlord when they called on him to inform him of his death. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
Members of the Juba Traditional Council and the royal family of Juba, led by the regent of Juba, Na Justice Dina, called on the Upper West Regional Minister, Dr. Hafiz bin Saleh, at his office to officially inform him of the demise of the paramount chief of the Juba Traditional Area, Na Ansole Ghana II. They were joined by some elders of the Walimairi clan who they shared ancestral ties with. Known in private life as Peter Tegenaban Namfuri, he served as the National Director of the Bureau of National Investigations, BNI, before being appointed as the Inspector General of the Ghana Police Service on October 1, 1996, and thus shot him into prominence because of the sweeping reforms he brought to the service. Spokesperson of the Juba royal family, lawyer Shahid Abdul Shakur, in breaking the news to the regional minister, stated that due process will be followed to give the late Na Ansole Ghana II a befitting burial.
We cannot waive this important part of our tradition, which is for the traditional council to personally appear before you and inform you officially that a misfortune has befallen not only the royal family of Jirapa, not only the people of Jirapa, and not only Upper Westerners, but the entire Ghanaians. After retirement from public service, became the Jirapana. But as all journeys will come to an end, as the Lord has determined it, his curtain was drawn. And in line and in keeping with our custom, cultural practices and tradition, we don't just bury our king like that. We follow through due processes. And this is just the beginning of the processes we are following.
Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Saleh, in eulogizing the Juba overlord, noted that he left indelible marks working as an IGP and BNI National Director.
In the two areas that he occupied, he left indelible marks in the discharge of his responsibility. He was a distinguished police officer, disciplined, dedicated, and loyal.
He assured the family of the late Ansole Ghana II that government will do everything to support them in giving him a befitting burial.
On our part, at the regional level, we will do whatever we can to support the bereaved family, because we appreciate the contribution of Japana to the development of the Upper West region and Ghana. He was the first Upper Westerner to occupy that enviable position of Inspector General of Police. So the Upper West region have produced two Inspector General of Police.
Na Ansole Ghana II died on February 17, 2023 at the age of 80. The tentative date for his interment is penciled for the last week of May 2023, but which is subject to approval in consultation with the government. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam.
You're watching Joy Newsroom. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. Now let's do some sports. Now football lovers are being encouraged to purchase their match day tickets ahead of time for Ghana versus Angola AFCON qualifier at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium later this month to earn huge discounts. This was revealed by National Sports Authority boss Professor Peter Chumesi in an interview with Love Sports. Ghana will host Angola at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium on Thursday, March 23, before traveling to Luanda on March 27 for the return fixture in search for a ticket to the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations slated for Cote d'Ivoire in January 2024. Now, the NSA has closed down the Kumasi Sports Stadium to allow uninterrupted works on the pitch as part of preparedness to host the Palancras Negras in this month's international break. In recent times, even before the introduction of the e-ticketing system, fans have witnessed network challenges in matches involving the Black Stars when the various stadia in Ghana admit huge crowds. Now, the NSA have taken steps to address this challenge by introducing what it calls early buys in Ghana game against Angola in Kumasi to reduce the pressure on networks and demand for online tickets on the match day. Speaking in an interview with Love FM in Kumasi, the Director General of NSA, Professor Peter Chumesi, confirmed all stakeholders have agreed to the introduction of discounts on all tickets categories brought before March 23, 2023. And that's all for the news, and I am Maame Esi Thompson. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Coming up next is the Law Challenge between UCC and UPSA. Stay tuned.